Hey folks, in this video we're going to discuss conversion rate optimization. Now, when you hear that, you might think, oh, that sounds pretty boring, but really what conversion rate optimization is zeroing in on the things or the metrics that are actually moving the needle for your business. So if you hear conversion rate optimization, what you should actually hear is, how do I go make money the best way? How can I scale what is already working? And that's what this video is all about. So hey guys, my name is Jason Wilmot. I am a marketing coach and the founder of a marketing agency called Hacktics. And in this video, what we're going to do is we're going to dive into conversion rate optimization. And I want to show you an example of how to think about this the right way. And not only how to think about this, how to build out your tech stack so that you can determine what is moving the needle for your business and what is not. Now, obviously, I like to live in the land of paid ads, and I know that not everything has to do with paid ads. But in the land of scaling and then looking at numbers to see what's working and what's not, paid ads are just really an incredible tool to scale your offer. And the best way to do that is by looking at the data. And so what we're going to discuss in this video is essentially how to set up your tech stack so that you can look at the data, and then how you can measure each click. So if you're running ads on Google, if you're running them on TikTok, if you're running them on Meta, all of them are going to have a separate conversion rate. And when you get into your analytics, you will have that proof, that evidence that you need, so that when you go to make decisions of like, hey, how should we go spend more money this month? Well, hey, let's allocate it over here because this is work. So I'm going to show you that in just a second. But first, what I want to do is give you a quick definition of what does conversion rate optimization actually look like. All right, so quickly, what conversion rate optimization is simply this. It is the process of improving the percentage of website or app visitors who complete a desired action, like making a purchase or signing up. It involves analyzing user behavior and making data-driven decisions to increase conversions without needing more traffic, or in this case, without needing more budget. And you'll see that what I'm going to show you is relevant. So if you're a SaaS company, if you are a lead-based business or local business, or even an e-commerce business, this is going to work across the board. You're just going to have different conversion endpoints to analyze at the end of the day. So let's first talk about the how and why of conversion rate optimization. So first of all, why and how do we accomplish this? So what is the why? Well, the why is simply we want to grow through data. We don't want to be making decisions based upon instinct or our gut or our emotions. We want to dig into the data and have a clear indicator of whether what we are doing is moving the needle in the right direction or not. And it's very hard to argue with the data so long as your data is actually set up correctly. The next, what we need to find are systems of scaled growth. Now, what do I mean by scaled growth? Obviously, you are using your time, money, and energy in order to go get more sales, book demos, start free trials, make purchases, get more requests to quote, whatever your call to action is. But at the end of the day, what we want to be able to do is scale systems. And this is why I go back to paid ads, because if we can follow the data through from a click all the way to a conversion, and that is a paid method, then all that we have to do is crank up the budget. Now, obviously, your KPIs need to make sense. Your cost per acquisition needs to make sense. So hopefully you've already done that due diligence. Really, what we're trying to do is find, okay, if we spread out our budget, let's just say across all of these different ad platforms, what's the conversion rate of each ad platform? And so then when we finish our sprint or finish a month or look at our data, depending upon how much data that you're looking at, what we're able to do is ultimately make an educated decision on where to go spend more money or where to allocate more resources. Okay, so the second part of this is, how do we actually do this? Where there's actually 3 tools involved that we do this, and they're all free. The first one is UTMs. So a UTM is a tracking script or parameter attached to a click. So an inbound click, whether it's from email, whether it's from ads, whether it is through a referral, what we're able to do is connect that click all the way down to the conversion inside of your Google Analytics. And that's the next piece. So what we have to have is our Google Analytics set up. And the way that we do that is through something called Google Tag Manager. It's a container that holds your Google Analytics. Then once you have your Google Analytics set up, what we have to do is we have to create a G4 or GA4 event. And that event is typically fired when somebody converts. So let me put this all together for you. Really what we're trying to do is we're trying to connect all of these things together. So the GA4 really is used to store, to capture, and to make sense of the events. The events in this case are your conversions. The second thing is your Google Tag Manager. You have to be able to send the events in. So if somebody hits a thank you page, if somebody books a demo, if somebody completes registration, we use Google Tag Manager to send in an event to GA4. And so that event is sitting there. Then this is where the magic happens with UTMs. So you have all of these clicks and all of these sources coming into your GA4 analytics that can convert. Well, how do you backtrack them to the event? Because Google Analytics will not do that for you. If you just send clicks in, you're going to find this thing called direct, and a direct click is basically you're going to lose all of your data. So what we're going to do is we're going to attach specific UTMs to each ad platform. So if it's coming from Google or TikTok, Meta, Twitter, wherever you're using it, you're going to have a unique UTM attached to each one of those. And so as those clicks come in, you're able to dig into each of those sources and identify what's the best source. Now, on top of that, you can even dive into the campaigns, you can dive into the ads themselves. So really at the end of the day, you are able to click through and click around in your GA4 to understand, okay, not only is it Facebook that's winning, it's this ad set and it is this version of this ad. That is the power of UTMs, and this is the power of conversion rate optimization. No more guessing about what's working. You literally have something that connects the dots all the way through. And this is sort of the image that I put together in order to see this. Like, this is a flywheel effect. So as you send in more clicks, you have more data, and with the data and the conversions, you have those events. And then you can read those events and understand the conversion rate optimization of them. Then you spend more money, and hopefully this just continues to go and go and go. Now, the best part about this, whether you are e-com or whether you are SaaS, is when you see those indicators coming in, really that's just clear evidence to you to go spend more money to make more money. And again, as I mentioned earlier in this video, what you have to do is you have to make sure that your math is always correct, that you're willing to spend an amount of money, or the cost per acquisition is actually yielding you more revenue on the other side. So as long as you have your math figured out, then this is a surefire way to scale up your offer. So before you start digging into conversion rate optimization, we do need to make sure that we have a conversion event. Now, if you are in e-commerce, this is a purchase event. Somebody is actually buying. Now, there could be micro events that occur before that, meaning somebody looks at a product, which is a view content, they add it to cart, they initiate the checkout, then they purchase. So there's a lot of little micro steps involved in that. And you can understand the conversion rate of each one of those. Nonetheless, at the end of the day, what you want to be focusing on is that event that actually makes you money, and that is the purchase. If you're SaaS or a local-based business or lead-based business, that could be something like booking a demo with you, requesting a quote. Maybe it's a pre-recorded demo that they watch, maybe it's a newsletter that they sign up, or maybe it's an install or a free trial or a download or something like that. So at the end of the day, what you do want to do is isolate which is that conversion metric that you're wanting to watch most. But the way that I think about it is this: it's the one that gives you money, right? So in this case, a newsletter opt-in might be something that you want to measure, but ultimately that is not going to be a data-driven KPI that you're probably monitoring unless you have your newsletter game really dialed in. So in order to explain what this kind of looks like, I've drafted something a little rough and whimsical, and stick with me, because what I want to do is kind of dive into each of these components. So really what you have here is you have your Google Tag Manager container. This is sitting across your entire website. Think of it as a space to implement or to deploy all of your pixels and your tags. So in this case, my Google Tag Manager is sitting on my website. I've used it to deploy my GA4, my Google Ads, my remarketing tag, my Facebook pixel, my TikTok pixel, my LinkedIn Insight tag, so on and so forth. There's a lot of different elements that you can use or nest within Google Tag Manager. So if this is sitting on your website, what is sitting inside of your Google Tag Manager container is your GA4 analytics. And so what we're going to do is we are going to leverage our analytics to essentially listen to what is happening on the page. GA4 is collecting all of this data, but this is what we're really worried about at the end of the day. We are worried about the conversion event. And so what I did here is, normally people use a thank you page. So whether you're in e-com or whether you're in SaaS, what you're going to try to use is something like a thank you page. And the event is, did somebody view that thank you page? And the reason, or the way that I think about it, is this: typically nobody can ever reach that thank you page without actually doing the thing that you want them to do. So in this case, this is sort of a SaaS example. So you have a home page or a landing page, and you're sending traffic to this landing page. Then on your website somewhere, you have your offer, you have your call to action, whether it's to sign up for a free trial, whether it's to book a demo. And then when they do that, that is when you fire this conversion event or this thank you page. And typically we know what that conversion value is worth. And so what we're going to do, though, before we start getting over here into our conversion rate optimization, this is where our UTMs come involved. So if we're running ads on Google or on YouTube or on Meta, Facebook or Instagram or on TikTok or on LinkedIn, we're attaching these UTMs to each one of these clicks. So as these clicks come into the website, all of that attribution data is following these. So if somebody comes to the homepage and then they come through this offer and they opt in and they were from Google, well, we know that in the UTMs and we can find that in our Google Analytics. The same thing would be true for Facebook and Instagram or TikTok. So what we're trying to do is essentially not guess. We're trying to follow these clicks all the way through. And this is sort of an example of what conversion rate optimization looks like. So let's just say that you probably have a lump of traffic in your Google Analytics that is your direct. That means they came directly to your website, or they're getting to your website without clicking on a UTM. Now, inside your analytics, you might see something that is organic. That means somebody is going through Google and then clicking on your website. A direct means they actually punched in your URL. So the chances of that happening shouldn't be too high. So most of the time, what we're trying to do in our analytics is actually remove as many directs and then attribute them to different sources when they're coming in. But inside your Google Analytics, you should see something like this if you have set up your conversion event. And remember, we're going to create our event inside of Google Tag Manager. We're going to push that into GA4. And then from GA4, we're going to find our list of events. We'll toggle on the event that we want to be as a conversion. And then we are, then we're moving forward with all of this data. Now, one thing that I should note is none of this data is retroactive, so you have to turn on this conversion before you can actually start seeing this data come in. Unfortunately, you can't see anything, in the past, and so that's why it's just so important to get your GA4 and GTM set up properly so that moving forward, you can track all of your decision making. So let's just say this though. Let's just say you have this direct. It's kind of an unknown, but we don't really know how to backtrack it to a specific thing. Now, one thing that you're going to have in your analytics is sort of your baseline, your overall conversion rate, and that's what you're going to be measuring things against. So in this case, let's just say that the average conversion rate is 1.4. And so what we're going to do is if we get into our analytics and we see like, oh, okay, these people coming from Facebook ads, they converted at 4.4%, whereas TikTok is 2.3, Google ads is 3.3, our cold email that we're doing is 0.2, and our newsletter is 0.4. Well, that's a pretty easy indicator for all of us to say, hey, this is a winning platform. We want to drive or spend more money on Facebook. Now, of course, you might be able to optimize and pinch out like, hey, the creative on TikTok converts better at the end of the day than the thing that we're running on Facebook. Now, even though Facebook is converting better in this case, it doesn't necessarily mean that we need to just take all of our spend and dump it into Facebook. If you're on a limited budget, then definitely that probably would be it. Spend money where you're actually making money. But it is a good idea to diversify over time just because you're going to start seeing those trends. So maybe you reallocate some budget from TikTok and you put it more onto Facebook. But at the end of the day, what we're really trying to do is understanding the clicks that are ultimately resulting in those conversions. And then, spending more time, money, and energy behind what is actually moving the needle there. So again, this is sort of a lead-based approach or a SaaS approach. Something very similar for our e-com. Again, we are sending in UTMs with all of our clicks, but sometimes you might have like a little event over here. Maybe you want to toggle it on as a conversion, maybe you don't. So like I said, maybe somebody looks at that product collection. That would be that event would typically be viewed content. They add it to cart. They initiate the checkout process, and then they purchase or they see that thank you page. And again, what you would want to do is just follow the data through. You could say like, okay, Facebook, I'm getting a lot of people to view the product, but nobody is buying, right? Or maybe everybody is from TikTok adds to cart, but nobody actually purchases. And then all the folks coming in from Google, they actually go all the way through and they end up buying. So really at the end of the day, this is a process of going in, mapping out your events, making sure that you have those conversions created. The way that we do that is, again, through Google Tag Manager. We capture the data with GA4, and then what we can do is we can dig into the data in GA4, but we can only backtrack that data to the original click if we use UTMs. All right, so there we have it. That is conversion rate optimization, and I know I went through that quickly. This isn't an all-encompassing video, but hopefully this sets you up on the right path to start making those data-driven decisions. So one of the things that I'm going to leave below in this video is a link to GA4 properties that you can actually just dig in and have free access to. The first one is a mobile SaaS. And then the other one is e-com. Now, unfortunately, you're not able to manipulate the data or manipulate the charts and adding in that conversion rate. So you can practice using your UTMs or digging through to see what UTMs that they actually used. But unfortunately, you're not going to be able to use that conversion rate optimization option that you typically will have in your GA4. All right, so if you enjoyed that video, go ahead and like and subscribe. It would really help out the channel and help me to continue to make more content for you. If you want to engage us as an agency or as a coaching partner, you will find links below as well. Or if you want to learn more about our courses, you can do that too. You can learn more about retargeting IQ, GA4, as well as our agency accelerator program. All right, guys, Jason Wilmot here. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.